This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of 21 Questions, the question and answer show brought to you by the KCSN Discord. My name is Craig Stout. I am joined by my good pal and fellow KCSN host. Stop looking around. I'm talking about you, Joshua Briscoe. How are you doing this evening?
I'm better now, Craig. I'm very excited to do this with you. I'm very excited to see. I have not looked at any of the questions ahead of time. I love where the Discord sends this. I'm very excited about where you are going to send this. And I think we're going to have a nice time together.
Yes, I think we're going to have a wonderful time together. Unfortunately, we've been talking for about 30 minutes before 21 Questions started here.
I do see that.
We've been going pretty hard at it, and so if we're a little slap happy in this, I really feel good about this. I really do. We've been having a good time over here. So we're going to start with a serious question here. The most serious question that we could possibly ask here, and this is from Tomahawk Chop 29. Who wins in a 100-meter hurdles race, Lamar Jackson or shirtless Jason Kelce from the Buffalo Bills game, Joshua?
I think the only way Jason Kelce wins is if you do not penalize for running through hurdles, because I don't think Jason Kelce would have even noticed there were hurdles in front of him. So in that context, I think it could be Jason Kelce. Otherwise, I'll take Lamar.
Yeah, I mean, Jason Kelce was feeling nothing. Like that, the jumps back into the box, those are the jumps of an individual. I've been that drunk at his age, and those are the jumps of an individual that just does not care about his body right at that very moment. So it was great. I really appreciated Jason Kelce being there to support his brother. That was a lot of fun there. So yeah, great question.
It'll make me sad if we have seen the end of his playing career, but it does give me great hope for whatever's next, because if he's just an accessory to Chiefs games for a little while,
man.
If he just wants to keep owning us in the podcast world and just continuing to take over this industry, I'm good with all of that.
Yeah, I'm great with all of that. I saw somebody suggest, that he should do a tailgate tour of the NFL next year, and I can't think of a better idea. Like, if Travis is going to keep playing, put his brother on a tailgate tour and just have him do that all the time. I think his wife Kylie probably would hate that, absolutely hate it. But
give him a whole offseason at home. I mean, I think she seems also very cool, and like she also understands who she's married to. So I think there's a win-win in here for everybody.
I think there is here. An actual serious question here from Ross Sawyer, referring to our pals Nate Tice and Robert Mays, talking about how the Chiefs intentionally hold back significant parts of the offense. And I really like the way that this was phrased. He said, if they're really doing that, should we ever really truly panic during the regular season as long as the playoff spot is intact? Well, how do you feel about that? I feel like there's going to be a ton of conversation about that this offseason, but a good way into it here.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think about that a lot, and I think that it would have been several years back now that I asked Andy Reid about something like that when I was still going out to pressers and everything, and now I'm at the station when their pressers are usually going on, so I don't get to go out there as much. But I remember asking that question and getting some sort of response of like, it's not really how we do that. Like, we're trying to use plays that work when they're available to us. I do think we have plenty of evidence of building on stuff as the year goes on. And I think that still takes you to a logical point where late in the season, or when you're a playoff team, playoff time comes around, you can pay off some of those setups. But also, I will not hear that logic when you lose a game that takes you out of the 1 seed, right? Like that to me is, I don't care. If they saved 5 unstoppable perfect plays for a Super Bowl they never get to, that would be a mistake. So I have my little twinge of skepticism. There's some truth in there. And obviously I remember hearing, I think Mays talked to Mitch Schwartz about that at some point earlier this season too. And yeah, hearing them talk about that was very interesting.
Yeah. No, and Mitch had a great one. I'm not going to go over that point again. Go listen to it. It was a really good interview there. At the same time, I think Andy Reid would be cool winning every game 10-7 and never showing anybody anything other than the most vanilla concepts on offense ever. Now, he still wants to win every single game. He still wants the 1 seed, and it's not like this Chiefs team wasn't tweaking the offense and clearly trying to pull out all the stops all at the end of the year there. So it's not like he's just sitting there with this treasure trove of excellent plays that he's looking at and he's like, man, I know Rashee Rice is going to score on this one. We got to make sure that we save it for the AFC Championship game. Cut to now there's going to be some awesome play and he's going to make me look like an idiot here like he always does. But, it's one of those that there's only so much he's going to hold back. But at the same time, there are tweaks and elements of it, the layers on top of everything that I do think that he purposefully saves back, but the base concepts are all still there.
Yeah, I like the idea of long plans as opposed to holding things back. It's like Rice especially. They were not hiding Rashee Rice in week 4. They were like, I don't know if this dude can play in the NFL yet. We got pretty good feelings, but like the growing pains lead to a better payoff in the late season and in the playoffs. But those growing pains were real. They were not faking growing pains.
No, definitely not. And I mean, again, like, you think the Chiefs would have loved to beat the Eagles? Do you think the Chiefs would have loved to beat Buffalo and knock them out of the playoff? Yes, absolutely. They don't want either one of those teams to get a leg up on them. And Andy Reid wanted a week's worth of rest, for everybody. Like, one less chance you got of somebody getting hurt or, a setback or anything like that. I mean, it's one less game. It's an automatic win and an automatic advancement to the next round. So there's no chance in hell that they're just sitting there and being like, well, we know that we're in the playoffs. We got the AFC West wrapped up. We don't care about the 2, 3, 4, whatever seed. We're just going to play. No chance. But I do think some of those layers are a little bit more, slow play. How about slow playing? We'll call it slow playing. Now,
you're like going to slow cook a few things. Yeah, slow cook your rice. That's bad culinary advice, but decent advice for the Chiefs offense.
How do you fast cook rice? I mean, because that's the polar opposite.
Well, minute rice is a thing, Craig. Not too old dingus about it, but I mean,
I think that speaks to my culinary abilities right there.
I don't think that not cooking minute rice means you don't know how to cook.
That's true. All right, Rugby Fox. This is a good one too. How much will injuries factor into the AFC Championship game now that Kansas City isn't at a clear health advantage like they were the past 2 games?
Yeah, I'll take it from the Ravens side first, I guess, because going into the Dolphins and Bills games, the week leading up, and specifically for the Dolphins, the weeks leading up, you start to see the defensive pieces fall that I think were in some spots places where they could have taken advantage of the Chiefs' shortcomings this year. Mm-hmm. The Dolphins' front 4 was not going to get a chance to pick on Donovan Smith being back and Jawan Taylor. That game was going to be what it was going to be because it was Melvin Ingram and Justin Houston and me. So, no offense to Emmanuel Ogbah, who is a better pass rusher than me. But
he plays inside. You're not disgracing him. He just kicks inside. That's all it is.
He just kick in, that's all. Yeah. So, those games, to me, the injuries from the opposing defense reassured me a little bit in terms of what the Chiefs' offense could do. I don't think I'm going to have that week this week going up to the Ravens game. I think it's going to be about schematics and players and all of those things, but not getting advantages. Meanwhile, a little up in the air for Joe Thuney, up in the air for Mike Edwards, up in the air for Willie Gay. All of those things would, of course, be detrimental to where the Chiefs stand.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And, I mean, there are some very key components there that even guys that finished the game, like Trent McDuffie was a little bit gimpy. L'Jarius Sneed has been nursing a knee injury. You need those guys to be forced defenders. You need those guys to be collapsing downhill. The Baltimore Ravens do a really good job of getting out wide on top of their in-between the tackles game. So there's going to be kind of an all-hands-on-deck approach to that. And that kind of goes to this point. Isaac Hugh and Keith McLean kind of ask a similar question here. But is the run defense against the Bills and with the Chiefs having some of these injuries giving you some concern coming into this Ravens matchup? And frankly, yes. And Derek Notty's injury matters a ton. I like Mike Pennell a lot, but he's not a guy that's like, hey, get out there for 100% of the snaps. They're going to be playing a Matt Dickerson, a Turk Wharton in the middle. And with all due respect to those two guys, run defense isn't necessarily their strong suit. Like they're better equipped to do other things within this defense there. So Pennell's the only guy. Noddy had surgery. Like, it doesn't look like he's going to be around for this game. So now all of a sudden you got to focus on the interior. You've got to collapse those linebackers down a little bit more. That means the edges are going to belong to the defensive ends and these cornerbacks. And while I feel confident in their ability to bring down a Lamar Jackson or a Justice Hill or a Gus Edwards, I also am a little bit concerned about some of those guys being banged up and maybe another extra hit or having to participate in the run fit a little bit more can exacerbate that injury. And now all of a sudden you're in trouble in your secondary because you lose a Trent McDuffie or a L'Jarius.
Yeah, and I feel better about the edges than I do up the middle. Maybe after Neil Farrell's sentence is up, I just assume he's serving some sort of punishment. I don't know why else. It's so hard for him to see the field. I saw him in week 18. I was like, wow, there's a mountain in there. Maybe he can stop a run. And the Chiefs were like, no, idiot, bring me Matt Dickerson. I was like, all right. So I am in a similar spot there. Obviously, Nick Bolton against the Bills was not exactly covering himself in glory in the middle of that field, especially in the first half. Maybe seeing some things shore up a little bit in the back half ended up being signs of positivity. I think Seth's going to take a closer look at that this week too. I have not looked closer at what changed after the half in terms of all of that working. But yeah, I am definitely a little bit concerned there. I don't think a one-dimensional Ravens offense can win that game, but I think that they will be able to throw the ball at least some, even though I love the secondary. They got a great quarterback and great receivers. They'll make some plays.
Yeah, and Mark Andrews is potentially coming back. They've still got Isaiah Likely. They like to run, with a fullback a lot. It's one of those that as a defensive coordinator, you're looking at that and you're going, okay, those guys are going to be hard enough to handle in our base defense. We don't have a ton of pressure packages in the base defense. That's just not something that like any defensive coordinators do. That's not like a deficiency for Spagnuolo. Nobody spends all offseason game planning around the 20% of snaps that you have to play in heavy personnel, but then you come up against a team like the Ravens, and now all of a sudden it's like, well, that matters all of a sudden. And oh yeah, they got Zay Flowers out there, and oh yeah, they got Rashad Bateman. Oh yeah, they've got these other guys that are dynamic pass-catching weapons, and now you're looking at it and going, well, where do we play? Well, what's the thing that we need to do? So certainly the injuries will, kind of change some of that. And hopefully, I know that we've seen it over the past couple of weeks. Both Cam Jones and Drew Tranquill have played deep safety for this team, which is Spagnuolo. I love you so much. But,
some weird Spags nonsense.
Yeah, we are going to get some weird Spag stuff, but that's not one of those that I think that you're looking at and you're like, yeah, take the linebacker out of the box and go ahead and play safe. No, that's more of a, hey, third and long, we're playing around with some stuff, trying to get some pressure packages together in the dime. That's not something that you're like, hey, yeah, Drew, hang out back there. That's not.
Take it back there. Don't even sweat it.
Don't worry about it, man. We got it up front. We'll play with the light box against the Ravens. Like that's.
When's that ever hurt anybody? I can't think.
Yeah, never at all. So yeah, I'd be curious there. Arrow asked the question: would you be content with letting Mike Edwards go and letting Shamari Connor be the third safety next year, based on the performance that he's had at the end of this season, Josh?
I guess so. I think Shamari Connor third safety hits me differently than let Mike Edwards walk and then because Mike Edwards all year has been kind of like, man, it's nice to have Mike Edwards,
Yes.
I think I'm just going to, especially not knowing still exactly what happened with Brian Cook, it doesn't seem like it's going to be like the ACL recovery that Juan Thornhill was still dealing with through the entire next season or whatever. But if you're going to give me a chance to have all four of those guys back, I would go ahead and take it. I think you've already mentioned all the sub packages this team lives in, and Spags loves some versatile safeties. I'd bring back those same four guys, and then if they want to go ahead and draft somebody else in the sixth that will start in a year and a half, then that's fine too. But I really like this group of four.
I do too. And, Brett Veach is probably going to pick a fourth round corner safety hybrid again, maybe not next year, but the year afterwards. And we're all going to be sitting around and going, well, he's not going to be the next L'Jarius Sneed or Shamari Connor like we did all offseason with Shamari Connor. And now you're watching that game against the Bills and you're like, damn, I'm glad we have Shamari Connor on this team right now because he was a tone setter. He was a difference maker and played a key component in this defense. And it's just insane to sit there and watch and see. I don't know that it needs to be an either or, to Josh's point there. I think that having all four of those guys, Mike Edwards likes it here. Like, let's be honest. Mike Edwards is enjoying this right now. Shamari Connor's on a rookie deal. Justin Reid's not going anywhere. I know that people have been looking at his cap number and going, well, there's $11 million they can save. Justin Reid has been integral to this defense and the communication on the back end. You wonder why they are so cohesive back there. Hey, it's that guy. It's Justin Reid. He's helping orchestrate everything and making the adjustments. And, oh, by the way, he's also a pretty good football player that makes receivers terrified to come over the middle of the field. So that guy's staying there. So, yeah, just keep all four. I think that just makes the most sense. We are going to take a break, and we will be right back with more of your questions right after this.
We appreciate you supporting KC Sports Network by listening to our podcast. You have helped us become the highest-ranked Chiefs podcast network in 2022 and 2023. And don't forget about our daily Substack newsletter, the best written analysis you can find on the Chiefs straight to your inbox every day. kcsn.substack.com.
We are back. That was the dulcet tones of BJ Kissel that we heard there. I mean, at this point, like, I sorry, Tuck, my friend. I think we may have to have BJ read all the ads. That's
the dreamy lo-fi vibes of
I know. Okay, and maybe Briscoe's doing it too.
Add reads to relax/study too. That's what I need. I need BJ with the headphones at the desk.
Absolutely is. Like, I feel like I'm back being an engineer again. I'm just sitting here coding, listening to BJ Kissel and the lo-fi beats, just
can we get some raindrop effects over that little ad there?
Man, don't give him any ideas. He will do it.
I believe it. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah. All right. Our guy Christian Gummager asks, if Mahomes retires at the end of this season, right here, I know. Where would he rank amongst the quarterbacks of all time? Obviously, knowing that he wouldn't get the counting stats of like a Rodgers or Breeze or the historical context of Marino or Montana. Do you have a number that jumps out at you just right off the dome here?
Top 10, easy. Probably top 5.
I'm saying I think 4 is where I want to go with this. Brady is 1. Like, if Mahomes retires right now, Brady's 1. Like,
you can't catch him in the things that make him 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Brady's 1. I think Montana, just from historically, is probably 2 in that scenario. And then you've got an argument for a Marino or an Aaron Rodgers, just because of the longevity and the stats that they put up, whereas Mahomes would be hanging it up way too early. And so, I mean, obviously
he rings as Peyton Manning.
I know. And obviously he's going to be up there and he's going to be contending with that one spot by the time that he retires. That's the long and the short of it. But right now, I think he's probably 3 or 4 for me within the entire history of the NFL after just 6 seasons as a starter.
I mean, look, Craig, you say all that, but I saw some graphics this week that didn't even have him as one of the top 5 quarterbacks left in these playoffs.
I know. Chiefs are kind of a poverty franchise right now, only been to 6 straight conference championships,
I think I'd go Brady, Montana, Rodgers, Purdy, Goff, Love, and then Mahomes somewhere in there.
You had me. Well, the first round, I was like, oh, this is his serious answer. And then, you said Purdy, and I went, okay, I'm on board. And then Goff. Goff was the one that got me.
Goff was the one that got you. Really?
Yeah. Brock Purdy, number 4 quarterback.
I mean, I'm projecting that Purdy's going to also get like 6 rings from here on out. I think one in February. And
listen,
that.
I mean, well, we'll see if he just keeps playing the way that Kyle wants him to. Who the hell knows?
As long as it doesn't rain, he's fine. Like aliens from Signs. His only weakness is water.
Or a light breeze. Water or a light breeze. Good thing that they're playing in a dome for the Super Bowl. All right. This one is pretty conceptual. Also, very, very, very serious question that I'm glad that you're taking serious by rotating your hat backwards.
Hat backwards. Shout out Baker Mayfield. He's also ahead of Mahomes on my list.
Who would win in a glazed donut eating contest? 1 Native American or 25 Ravens?
Okay. This is the Chiefs-Ravens thing. Okay, got it. The amount of recalibrating I had to do in such a small period of time makes me feel like I am a human supercomputer. Because the first thing I had to do was even figure out if I wanted to answer this question. I think the context of this is important and also concerning. I think anyone who hasn't eaten a glazed donut before can max out at like 2 or 3.
Yes.
And then I just think, listen, I have diabetes. I think at some point your pancreas is upset with you after like 2, 3. So if we're saying like colonizers just showed up on the shores and they're like, hey, this land looks pretty nice. Would be cool if we took it from you. In return, we'll give you infinite donuts. I think I'll go Ravens there because I just think birds are kind of built for it. But like modern standards, I think I'll give it to any human being without diabetes.
Yes, I'm leaning that way too. It's obviously very nuanced question there because you got to stack all the Ravens around. Like, are they all focused on one donut at a time, or do they get split up into 25 different donuts? Because then all of a sudden, even though they're not eating as rapidly, you are seeing more consumption spread out throughout 25 Ravens. So it definitely, I think that favors the Ravens if they're able to kind of split that up a little bit.
I think each Raven's got room for one full donut if they're pretty fluffy. So I don't think a lot of people are going to hold up great. How many glazed donuts do you think you could eat in one sitting?
One sitting?
And I'm going to say not like a Waffle House challenge sitting, but like you got like half an hour.
Sure, I got a half an hour to eat glazed donuts. Man, I'm not a sweets guy, so like I'm probably tapping out after 2 or 3. Like
come on.
No,
what if I'm giving you $10,000 a donut? Let's change the.
Now hang on here.
Yeah, we're changing the prompt.
Absolutely. I will make myself very uncomfortable for this. 48 donuts in half an hour. You didn't say they had to stay down. I mean, they could...
Okay, so for me, I got to take in the financials anyway, because Krispy Kreme Original Glazed Donut contains 22 grams of total carbs. So for me, that's about 1.3 units of insulin per donut. And insulin is expensive. We've made some strides there recently, but I got to be cognizant of all of that. Yeah. So I'm going to say that if I go ahead and my insulin device would not allow me to give myself enough insulin to eat 25 donuts, I would have to do it in phases because it would be worried about me.
Yeah. So I think what we're hearing here, I think Ravens might win in a donut eating contest. It's a good thing that this isn't a donut eating contest. I think Mike Pennell could probably put down a solid 40 though. Like, are we nominating Mike Pennell for that? Like,
is
he seems like a gamer? Like, well, I mean, he seems like a gamer. Like, he'd get really into the competition. Like, he'd be up for it. And I mean, like, and so, like, I know that people are going to take that as, oh, Mike Pennell's a big guy. No, like, I think he'd be into it. Like, he would take it very seriously and be into it. That's why I'm nominating him. Also, he also seems like a dude that likes a donut. So,
I think Pennell is a great pick. My next nominee is a little riskier because I do think there's a chance you throw too many donuts into this machine and the cogs, start gumming up or whatever. But I think Isaiah Pacheco would eat them like Cookie Monster.
Oh,
just crumbs going everywhere.
He's trying to eat. All the crumbs are falling down, and he can't stop his feet from still moving while he's eating a donut.
He's burning enough calories as he's eating them that it actually doesn't even affect him.
I actually really like that one. And clearly, the Ravens are nominating Patrick Ricard. Like, I mean, we know that one.
Yes, I would certainly hope.
I would certainly hope so. So,
not nominating Mark Andrews, who also has diabetes.
True. Yes, Mark Andrews.
I will
stay away from those. Right. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. All right.
Me and Mark Andrews can have a charcuterie eating contest.
Not saying here's a competition I'm in for. I love a good cold meat and a cheese. I mean, let's not.
Man of culture, Craig.
Man of culture. All right. Nick Johnson, this one's specifically for you, Josh. Why do you let Kent continue to dominate you in the Discord?
Yeah, so I said I didn't see any of these. I did get a notification about that one earlier.
Yeah.
My Discord is a wasteland. My notifications, I have begun to try to hone down on some. I do enjoy every time I step into the KCSN Discord, but I have to toggle my general notification situation in a way that my phone doesn't completely rule my life when the 3 hours a day I try not to look at it, which is mostly when I'm sleeping. So that's definitely part of it. Also, I do think it benefits me in the long run to continue to let Kent think he's got me in something, because at some point his guard will come down and it will end momentarily thereafter.
I think the guard's down right now. I'm just alerting you. He's not going to listen to this. I think the guard is down, like fully all the way down right now. Like, I think he would be blindsided by literally any competition that you would have with him other than a glazed donut eating competition that we just talked about for obvious reasons there. But I think anything that you felt like besting him in, right now is the moment. He's obviously very emotional about great Patrick Mahomes performance after waiting for it all year long. Now all of a sudden he's got one to build on. He's going to be really excited. We're getting ready to go to the Shrine game. We're getting ready to watch some draft picks. The Royal Rumble is coming up and he won't quit talking about it. Like, this is prime, really best Kent at something right now. So playing wisely, you get one shot here. I'm just saying, this is probably the week to do it.
So what if Lab comes around? Kent never gets the link. He just sees it start. You, me, and Maddie Lane cutting it up. Don't tag him. Don't acknowledge him. Don't mention it. Enjoy your Discord, Kent. I'm sowing Discord. More light. I'm doing this podcast from Kent's office right now. He doesn't even know I'm here.
His wife and kids show up and they just wave in the background as you're doing.
You gotta watch the video, but they're there.
They're back here. Don't worry about it. They're right back there. But yeah, oh man, that would be awesome. And you know who else is awesome? DraftKings Sportsbook.
Oh
yes, they are an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs. They are bringing you an offer that will help make the playoffs electrifying, even more electrifying than it already is. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. I know that they run this thing all the time. I have taken advantage of it, and I mean, seriously, I was not a big gambler beforehand. Loved it. Had a great time. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are currently 3.5-point underdogs. The line has moved towards the Ravens. I mean, this is not betting advice. I don't give betting advice, but hammer that if you're a Chiefs fan there. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook now. Use promo code KCSN. New customers bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code KCSN. The crown is yours. Do you have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age, varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 180 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. I am going to catch my breath as we
That
go.
was an A performance. I had to knock it down to an A- at jurisdiction.
I know. I can't. Listen, man, this is why I don't do this on the lab, but I am going to catch my breath. We're going to take a small break, and we will be right back.
We appreciate you supporting KC Sports Network by listening to our podcast. You have helped us become the highest-ranked Chiefs podcast network in 2022 and 2023. And don't forget about our daily Substack newsletter, the best written analysis you can find on the Chiefs straight to your inbox every day. kcsn.substack.com.
All right, we are back, and we are here. I'm Craig Stout. This is Joshua Briscoe.
Hi.
We are doing this thing. So, this is another one for you, Josh. You may have seen this one as well, but we've talked about this a little bit, but I think it's worth kind of recycling and bringing it to the public. If you could start any new podcast on KC Sports Network, what would it be, and what would you cover?
Wow. Okay, so I'm having to branch out some. Here's the issue, Craig. I'm not willing to give my best two answers to this question.
I get it.
The best couple serious answers, they're in this little pocket in here, and they might pop out someday.
Yeah.
I think, wow, so can you read the terms of it again?
Okay. Any new podcast on KC Sports Network, what would it be, and what would you cover?
I think I really enjoy a lot of pop culture things that don't often have a sort of intrinsic home within sports talk. So a little bit of, I always am ready for like a conversation about a Wes Anderson movie. I realize this now because I've had that door popped open to me like 3 or 4 times in the last couple of weeks, and every time I've become an insufferable, pretentious dork about it, and I love that.
So Kelsey's fit this week really, really set you off.
When Jason Kelsey quote tweeted it with like he was like Travis was auditioning for a Wes Anderson movie. Mm-hmm. I literally just fired off like I had First and Tenenbaums, several others that weren't as good as First and Tenenbaums. I can't remember what else. What else did I go? A Football Life Aquatic. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, that's all right. I don't think I tweeted fantastic Mr. Doesn't Give a Fox. That was I thought about it. Anyway. I think music and movies and culture that we consume that way is always really a good spot for fun conversations, but I would only want to do it, I think, if I was doing like having those conversations with other people. So like, hey, what have you listened to this week? We did a bit on Almost Entirely Sports for a long time of shot clock reviews. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just bringing shot clock reviews in some form back, where me and Beards and Rudy would take like 24-second shot clocks to review something, a game we'd played that week, or an album we'd listened to, or a movie we'd watched, something like that. So I think maybe I just bring shot clock reviews back and just get a rotation of some of our best folks to talk about things they enjoyed.
Yeah, man. Like I have a lot of podcast ideas. None of them with video. None of them with video. I have a reputation to uphold.
What's wrong with Craig, what's with your video right now, by the way?
My video right now is doing awesome. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's really cool because it is like playing a video game with frame rate issues. So it's like, I'm gonna just see like
my ping is really low right now. I'm jumping around on Counter-Strike. Like nobody can hit me. I'm ghosting everywhere. Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm in a flow state because my video seems to be working and you're just
you're definitely working. So that's how I know it's not my connection, is that your video is working, and yet I am doing the most perfect robot that you have ever seen. All right, Zach Tuttle asked this one. How much does playoff experience matter going into Baltimore, and is it enough to give the Chiefs a good advantage in this game? I haven't heard a whole bunch of people talk about that yet. Like, really, all I've heard is Baltimore's defense is really good. Lamar's playing really well. Both of those things are true. I'm not trying to minimize either one of those, but we're not talking about the fact that Baltimore has not played very many playoff games, and they've lost a ton of them. So do you think that matters, Josh?
It's funny because it was an anti-factor for the Texans in the wild card round, and then it was a huge topic for the Texans in the divisional round. Like, well, So did it matter or did it not matter? Because it definitely shouldn't stop mattering in 1 week, right? So I think that there is a positive to having a successful playoff experience. I will never pick against a team for not having playoff experience. I think it's kind of my alignment there. So I don't think I'm going to take points away from the Ravens because they haven't pulled this off before, but I do think it says something for Reid, Mahomes, Travis Kelce, those guys to know where they're going to be. But if you take the other side of it, you are saying that you have lower expectations for Rashee Rice because he's never won an AFC Championship game. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of layers to that. Like, yeah, we can sit here and be like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, all he's done is play in these games. Like, he knows how to play in these games. Lamar hasn't played any of these games. But I do think that some of that will matter in situations. I think the Ravens are not the type of team that matters for, if that makes some sense. The style of football that they play, the way that they execute, the way that they've been able to reinvent themselves and just win all regular season, every regular season, basically, that Lamar Jackson's been healthy. These guys aren't like phased by big games. Now, conference championships, a little bigger game than they're used to. I could see maybe a few nerves if the game script starts going against them, and then maybe they got to take the run game a little bit more out of it. Now, all of a sudden, you're trying to make Lamar into more of a pocket passer, which he's been better at this year, but still is not one of those guys. I mean, they just got done playing Josh Allen, who's a better pocket passer than Lamar Jackson is, but it's one of those that I can see it cascading and avalanching into that sort of scenario. But I don't think that, at kickoff, I don't think that anybody on the Ravens sidelines is going to be standing there going, oh, wow, I'm really nervous about this. No, I think that they're going to be ready to play. They got a good coaching staff. This isn't something where, like, they're going to come in phased, by any of the surroundings here.
I think the idea of experience helping you stop a skid and inexperience making the avalanche continue, I think that's a good call. I think it probably matters the most for the coaching staff and then the next most for the quarterback. And now, obviously, the Ravens have changed defensive coordinators at both sides of the ball for the last Super Bowl they played in. But yes, Harbaugh is very familiar with big games, and I really like Mike McDaniel, and I don't actually think this is necessarily a true comp. But if you're going to say, like, hey, Mike McDaniel playoff time, first time in some of these big games, you have to account for some of that. I'm like, yeah, no, I think Andy Reid going into his 5,000th playoff game is going to have a game plan here that I don't know that there may be good examples of this. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's first Super Bowl trip ended in a way that still sticks to him as a coordinator. You know what I mean? So, like,
Sean McVay's first Super Bowl made him completely rethink everything about the way that he called an offensive game. Like, Bill Belichick broke him mentally in that Super Bowl. He was sitting there on the sidelines going, I don't know what to do. And that, and they were, that was a game that, it wasn't a runaway. It was just one of those that nothing's working. I don't know what to do. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to get that from Harbaugh. I just don't. I don't think there's a scenario where that happens. Something's not working, he'll layer another tweak on it. He'll rally the troops. It would be the same way with Andy Reid. If things were going negatively, you're going to see Andy Reid in the huddle trying to get, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, calm down. Let's go do this. We know how to do this. So I think that that's more of what it is. So I don't think that it's going to be a major advantage in this game for the Chiefs on this one. So yeah. Grayson Jaspers asks, who do the Chiefs play in the Super Bowl, Josh?
I don't like the tone of that question. I don't appreciate what that is doing. And I also don't know, because the Packers have had a shot, man. They had a shot.
They did.
For the wildest NFC Championship game matchup that we could have imagined.
It would have been so fun.
It would have been a blast. I of course, I think this is, and not from the Chiefs' perspective, just as a football fan, I of course would like for Detroit to win this game.
Absolutely.
I think it'll probably be the Niners, but I'm not convicted on that at all, because this Lions team's got a little bit of that kneecap spark. I would love, imagine what we just talked about in Sean McVay. Hey, Jared Goff, full circle for you, bud. Welcome back.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun. Man, I would love Detroit Chiefs, the Therese Super Bowl. Like, come on, man. Like, that would be awesome.
It would be amazing. And imagine telling yourself 10 years ago, hey, the Chiefs and Lions are going to play in the Super Bowl, and nobody is rooting for the Chiefs. Nobody.
Not a single play.
Nobody is rooting for the Chiefs. Here.
As a matter of fact, the entire playoffs, everybody has been actively rooting against your favorite football team because they hate how much success they've had. 10 years ago, I would have been, no chance in hell.
I've already read this tweet and tweeted this tweet, and I've put this out 1,000 times because it's just so wild to me. You got to scroll to it because I guess I didn't have this tab open anymore. Whoop-de-doo, smart by me. But I had to go look at Chief seasons that ended in a conference game appearance. Here are your years, okay? 1966, 1969, 1993. The gap there. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023.
Yes.
I get bored of saying it by 2020.
I know.
Either their conference championship game appearances in the last 6 years.
I have an article coming out on Tuesday of this week, which I believe that this will air after that. So if you're listening to this, go to the KCSN Substack. You can read it. I am doing a retrospective of every Chiefs playoff game in the history of the Chiefs, the entire franchise here, going through all of this stuff. I don't know that anybody realized, and maybe there's people out there that have tweeted this and I just haven't seen it. The Chiefs now have a 22-21 postseason record. 22-21. They just got over 500 by beating the Bills. Just now. Think about all the success that the Kansas City Chiefs have had over the past 5 years. It took all of that to claw it back to 500. That's how miserable this is. This is an exercising the demons kind of post. We're going through it here. There were not a lot of wins, and unfortunately, there were quite a few playoff games there in the early to mid 90s and early to mid 2000s that were really heartbreaking. So we're going to talk about those because we have
I'll be ready for that. I think that's not true. I'll read it. I don't know that I'll be ready for it, but
we're going to get into it. But yeah, they are 22-21 after beating Buffalo. Like, they had to beat Buffalo to not go back under 500.
I get, it's hard to stay 500 when you lose one game and it's over. So
yes,
let me scroll through here. They did that quite a few times. It looks like.
Yeah. Specifically from 1994 to 2013. They did that quite a few times.
Okay, well, so they lost here. They didn't play a bunch of these years. They lost.
Yeah. What happened those years? Oh, they played some bad football. Yikes!
Wow, that's going to be a tough, great read. I am excited for that.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a tough read. We'll decide on the grade. I haven't written it yet, but we're getting there.
Greg, everything you do is great.
No, Josh. No.
That was for the Discorders.
Yes. Okay. Cheddar Bob asks to give us, or for us to give him.
You had to mess something up after you said that.
I know.
I respect the bit. I know.
Top 3 non-Super Bowl playoff wins. The Houston comeback has to be in there.
Okay, before even that, I was going to say Chiefs Titans AFC Championship game because that to me, there was the Sammy Watkins moment, late mid fourth quarter.
Yeah,
that one is crystallized for me in a way that I don't think any other moment is, because I just, honest to God, never thought I'd see that happen. Because right then it was, the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
That to me challenges. I think, honestly, for me, like, emotionally there, I think that might transcend the second Super Bowl. And in some ways, it like challenges the first one. I remember having conversations.
I get it.
I don't know. I think I may live a full life and die and never see the Chiefs make a conference championship game. And they're 50 years a lifetime, but they're going to a Super Bowl was something I barely knew how to conceptualize until at least 2018. So that's Texans come back, Titans AFC Championship game. Those are the top 2, I think.
13 seconds game. I mean,
Losing
I
this
didn't
week is so hard.
I know, and I didn't love that game as a defensive guy when Tyrann Mathieu went out and the middle of the field was just empty for the rest of the game. Like, that sucked a little bit. But, man, to have a team, especially now coming off, the experience with Buffalo here, where it just, now all of a sudden it appears that the Chiefs are the immovable force to them. So, with all of that there, that is just one in the lore, I guess, where I get to look at it and I'm like, the Chiefs were down 3 points with 13 seconds left to go, and they kicked a field goal to tie it, send it into overtime. Like, I was at that Texans comeback game, so that one holds a special place in my heart because I was just standing there hugging his Dirkness and Ryan Scott Hall and Chief Bearcat, like, just repeatedly as it happened. So those were fun. I had a small, I wanted to pick that first Texans game, the one that broke it. Yeah.
I think that's fair.
The one that got us off of this disgusting pattern of not winning a playoff game. But I just don't think that I can squeak it in anymore with some of the other performances that they've
had. I think if I have to look at the list, it probably doesn't really qualify. But, it's very hard to, if you don't want to do a game that, led to an eventual loss. The Bengals in the AFC last year, I think there was some amount of exercising the demons of the year before and everything. But I don't remember that.
Called them discount Cleveland 5 minutes after the game went off. So there was some fun there. Yeah,
there was, but I don't remember that game being as fun in real time. Maybe just more stressful or something. I don't know. No, I think I would go ahead and sign off on the third spot, going to 13 seconds. But I think you wanna Mount Rushmore it and get the playoff streak up there too. Brian Hoyer be damned. That was something again that I had not seen.
Again, yeah, that was one, and it was a shutout too. Yeah. So and 5 turnovers. That was just one that was like, everything's going right. Finally, that was a good one there. All right, Casey,
I would say it's either those or it's Chiefs 34, Ravens 10. Yeah, that one hasn't happened yet, but
you're calling your shot there.
I think that one's gonna be top. I think that was gonna be top.
Boy, if they do that, this receiving group with everything that this team has been through this season, if they make another again, I said last year, don't let them get to the AFC Championship game. If you did, you effed up the rest of the NFL. If you let them back to the Super Bowl with this set of receiving weapons, you effed up again.
You really effed up.
Yeah. Man. Maddie asked when we're all playing the new Pokemon knockoff game, Pal World.
I think I'm ready, but I think my only actual exposure to this so far has been I saw one tweet. There were 1 million people playing it concurrently. I was like, well, I love Pokemon. I guess I'll look. I've played some Pokemon kind of knockoff stuff before and varying levels of success. Hell, I respected Digimon as a child. I mean, I know how this game works. And then it was just all a bunch of stuff about ripoffs and maybe AI and maybe not AI. And do these Pokemon have guns? And then a mod that just straight up makes them Pokemon. So Pikachu is mining rocks. So anyway, you guys let me know, I guess, and I'm down. Moral ambiguity, technological ambiguity. I don't know, man. I've played Pokemon games enough at this point to think that we talked this. You mentioned this pre-show. I'm gonna give you credit for, but anything that moves the goalposts a little bit for Game Freak. I think, hey, you guys tried some stuff with Legends. That was really fun. What I give Pikachu guns.
What if you? I want that clip so bad. Claude, clip that one. What if you give Pikachu guns? I
also loved Legends. I loved Legends.
I did too. I thought that the way that they switched it up was really cool. I really liked the catching mechanic, the open world mechanics. I thought that they really tried something new, so they promptly abandoned it and are planning to revisit it. So
okay, I'm going to predict something in a way that I've been sitting on for a while. I've got my fingers crossed. I don't even know if I'm just going to try to. I'm manifesting the sequel, Legends, whatever other legendary they want to pick. Pokemon Legends 2 should be the best Pokemon game ever made.
Ooh. Okay.
You get to take the best stuff you figured out from Legends. You get to bring in the rest of the ups and downs of Scarlet Violet and Sword Shield. Imperfect games, but they hit some good beats here. We're gonna hopefully the Switch 2 is out to support this upcoming Legends 2. I really want that game to be good.
Which prediction do you feel more comfortable with coming true? The Chiefs beating the Ravens 34-10, or Legends 2 being a quote unquote perfect Pokemon game?
Well, it won't be perfect. There's a better chance the Chiefs win 69 being a perfect Pokemon game. Let's not be silly, but I think the Chiefs could definitely win, and I think Arceus or whatever Legends 2 could definitely be good.
Yeah, there you go. Last one here from Lee87. This is one that got some discussion going in the Discord, so we'll kind of have it out here. If Andy Reid changed his original statements and decided that he was retiring after this year, making Mike Florio the happiest person in the history of sports writers. If he won his first Super Bowl or his third Super Bowl as a head coach after this year, would you prefer, this is an ABC multiple choice scenario, A, Matt Nagy and all offensive coaches move up one spot, B, Steve Spagnuolo and they promote Joe Cullen to defensive coordinator, or C, an outside coaching option and a free-for-all on assistants and coordinators? Yeah, it's the caveat at the end of the with the free-for-all that, yeah.
This might be, if this is a cop-out, I'll circle back again and figure it out. I think it should not be difficult to find an offensive-minded head coach that wants to come coach Patrick Mahomes and leave Steve Spagnuolo's defense the hell alone.
Yeah.
That is what I would like to have happen. It can be, the other thing that's, I guess, kind of wild is if you're saying this year, because I'm already deeply fantasizing about Kyle Shanahan getting fired in 4 years, Andy Reid retiring, and just like figuring that all out, something like that. Give me McVay needs to change the scenery in 4 years. That's fine. Come to the Midwest. But I would go outside candidate. Do you think Spags wants to be a head coach again?
Yes, I do. Now,
and I guess I'll give it to him.
I do think that Spags wants to be a head coach again. I think he's learned a lot since the last stint for sure. But I don't think that it's one of those where he's just like, oh, I'll take any random job. Like if somebody came to him and said, here's your head coaching opportunity, welcome to Carolina, he's going to go, no, I'm good.
I'm good,
seriously, I'm good. But if the Chiefs job opened up, that's a little different. Like he's familiar with everybody here. He knows what the expectations are, especially if Joe Cullen is the defensive coordinator. I think he's going to still feel connected to the defense. And then he's going to turn around and say, okay, Patrick, who do you want? Who do we need to go out here and get? Is Mike Kafka all of a sudden on the chopping block in New York? You want to come back and, be the offensive coordinator for this team, and this is your offense. Do you want to try and pull away somebody from the collegiate ranks that has just been exceptionally good?
Barry.
I said exceptionally good.
Oh, sorry.
Like the Ravens did with Tom Monken this past year. Like, I can find ways to try and make that work. So I would probably do that with Spags, even though a lot of the outside coaching options are excellent right now. Like Mike Vrabel would be fun as hell in Kansas City. I would really enjoy what Mike Vrabel would bring. I would just be really terrified that Mike Vrabel would come in and go, all right, see you, Steve. We out. And I don't know that that's the right move right now.
Okay, I got one thing on the defensive side, one on the offensive side real quick. One offensively, I thought about this a lot, just like with what the Bears are doing. I would have a very hard time having a defensive-minded head coach knowing that if your offensive coordinator succeeds enough, they're going to leave.
Yeah.
That's really tough.
That's tough. Yeah.
It's especially tough if you're talking about if your OC, I guess the Bears have hired one now. It was Waldron, right? If you make Justin Fields an MVP candidate, you're going to be a head coach. If you turn whoever your number one quarterback draft pick ends up being into a rookie of the year, Bobby Slowick's going to do that, getting a head coaching job here.
Ben Johnson is about to get a head coaching job after he's done in Detroit. Yes. Yeah.
And I wouldn't leave D'Amico Ryans or Dan Campbell on the side of the road because their offensive coordinators are going to get poached. And I know I mentioned this on 810 today. Jason was like, well, Campbell's an offensive guy. I was like, yeah, but he's also he's a kneecap guy, you know?
He's a motivator. Like,
yes.
he's a motivator. And like in the best possible way. Yeah.
Calling him like a CEO doesn't work because nothing else about him seems to scream CEO, but he's overarching.
CEO that I would love to work for.
Oh, my God.
I mean, if we're being
imagine,
but yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
But so that would scare me because, like, all right, you got Kafka, and now Mike Kafka's been Patrick Mahomes' offensive coordinator for 2 years, and now he's he's a head coach somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that would be very stressful for me. Also, just a total, like, out of curiosity in your view of this, I'm judging this based on vibes. I love Joe Cullen. He's been a treat. Yeah. If Spags is the head coach, I would give Dave Merritt the defensive coordinator job. And
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
I don't know if that hits me different.
No. I think that they hit me about the same. Dave Merritt has been exceptional doing what he's doing. I know that we talk about all of Spags' exotic coverages and stuff like that. Dave Merritt is a large part of what's happening there and the progress of all these guys. And I think, I'm going to speak for Lee here. I think he'd be fine with that too. Like if we subbed Joe Cullen for Dave Merritt there, I just think everybody sees Joe Cullen take the types of, the balls of clay that he's gotten on the defensive line and also Chris Jones. And he's turned them into these just terrific players that, are consistently leading the league in sacks or second in sacks. Like, I get where he's coming from there. Dave Merritt would be 6 of one, half dozen of the other for me. From a
I would love to find out at some point that Clark Hunt has been making the two of them two of the highest paid defensive assistants in football.
Oh, that would be
awesome. There's no cap on that. So
yeah, there's absolutely no cap on that at all. But Andy Reid's not retiring, Mike. He's going to stay in Kansas City.
Sorry, who asked that question again? I know you mentioned it a couple times.
Lee 87. Yeah.
All right, Lee 87. Any websites you'd like for us to check out that may discuss football of the pro variety, Lee?
And talking about it?
I'm not so sure about that.
That was
we have one more question here from Tafel Mafoya. When Travis Kelce retires after this season, what should the Chiefs do? Weird.
Tafel Mafoya. That's wonderful. Yes. I mean, listen, we'll see on Travis. He's saying no. I loved that Travis Kelce sat there in the room with all the media when they were like, well, there were those reports that you were thinking about retirement, and he just turned to everybody and went, am I the only one? Like, are none of us, none of you guys are thinking about what we're going to do after we're done doing this? Like,
it is such a good move by him. And I can understand that, a football career in particular, you have to start thinking about your football retirement plans like the day you get drafted.
Basically, yes.
And so certainly Kelce has earned that at this point. But also, you should be thinking about it, folks. I'm not going to tell you how to manage your finances. I'm not sure I'm in a position to do that. But you should think about it, right?
I've been thinking about it for a long time, man. Like, and
you do a podcast.
I'm ancient.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle that you don't retire every 3 days or so.
It's a miracle that I wake up in the morning. So, that's why Kent has to tell everybody Craig's okay. It's because I'm not dead when I'm not on the podcast. Literally he did wake up this morning, everybody. I know that we were fearful that maybe he fell and broke his hip and died. But
it's just a good old-fashioned little quarrel just between the two of us.
Just a good old-fashioned Joshua Briscoe taking over Kent's position on the podcast, moving forward on the lab. That is going to do it for 21 questions this week. I really appreciate Joshua, you joining me. This was a really good time. It was awesome. We should do this again in the future sometime.
Anytime you're hosting, I'm welcome. Happy to do it.
Oh, wow. Anytime, man. Okay. We need to start like layering. Like, let's get like a 3-man booth in here. I'll see if I can get like DJ or Mike DeVito to come and they can just stare at us and this nonsense.
I think they would love that. I don't know why you would think they wouldn't be honored to have the chance for such a pal world.
Ruin any sort of communication that I have with either one of them because I'm like, hey, come play around and be silly and do stupid shit with us for an hour. Yeah.
feel like they've gotten appreciation for that. Because if not, again, at this point, everybody knows who they're here with, right? I mean, there can't be a lot of secrets hiding behind these KCSN walls.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't been able to hide my dorkiness, nerdiness from them for 2 years.
Yeah, Craig, you suck so much. You are the worst.
True.
Nobody likes you. You're so bad.
Oh, God. This is my favorite podcast. This is right there.
Craig, this is my least favorite podcast.
Oh, I love this. I love this so much. That's going to do it for Joshua Briscoe and Craig Stout.
Yeah.
Be kind to each other. We will catch you later.